Brothers, welcome back to another episode of the Rising Kings show. My name is Ben Salkeld. I'm the founder of the Rising Kings movement, creator of the core performance training system, and today we're going to talk about fatherhood. So let me just shape this up for a second. You're busy, you're ambitious, you want to be a great father, a great role model for your kids before it's too late. And so in today's episode, I'm going to reveal what I call the 5 habits for ambitious, busy fathers who want to make a significant impact on their children's lives. Now, I became a father at the age of 32. I'm now 45. And I want you to know that I didn't know all this back at the start. But having worked hard at understanding the role of a father, I followed these 5 principles. So what I'm going to reveal to you today not only helped me become a better father, it's really helped me become a better man. Now, I've been consistently working on myself for well over a decade to be in the position I'm in now. And I've been coaching and supporting men on the path to greatness for the past 6+ years. Working with a handful of ambitious fathers each month through the Rising Kings core performance methodology. So, man, when I'm speaking here, I'm speaking from experience. But I do want to make it crystal clear that no matter what anyone says, I'll hold up my hand and say that a very large portion of why I'm in the position I'm in today is because of a lot of trial and error. Like, there have been many mistakes made. But in my opinion, I never gave up. I never gave up on this desire to be an amazing father, an amazing husband, and an amazing man. And it continues to drive me to this day. And so the difference between then and now is that I have a very clear roadmap for men to follow. But apart from that, let's really just get into today's episode. So I want to touch on this notion about what is a good father? What makes a great father? Now, we can sit here and argue around everyone's different opinion, but I really think it boils down to a couple of things. The first is capacity. A great father has the capacity to be able to handle whatever life is throwing at him at that particular time. And what I mean by capacity is, when you don't have capacity because things trigger you, frustrate you, you're tired, you're exhausted, you don't want to do what it is you need to do. Little Johnny wants to go and kick the football and you don't have the time to do it. You ask the kids to go and clean their teeth and they don't do it and we snap. That's capacity. Another is deep connection. It's not just surface level connection. I'm talking like deep rooted connection, like soul to soul stuff. There's also energy involved here. Like, a great father has energy. He has vitality. He feels excited to be in the role of a father. Like, he doesn't take it for granted. He's calm in the chaos. And I think this is probably one of the biggest ones I've had to focus on in my life over the years of being a father, is this notion of how do I show up more calm when things are not going to plan. And for those that have been following the journey, you would have heard a number of stories I've shared over the past of my journey on this exact notion of calm in the chaos. Another is being present, like actually being in the moment as a father with your family. And I'll talk a little bit more on this as we go through. And then another is, a great father, he doesn't dictate how to live. He leads by example. It's the mentor, the man who shows up as a mentor for his children. And so one of the biggest and most common mistakes I see fathers make, even through discussions I have with them, is that they think more time with the kids equals a better dad. But let me put that into context for a second. The kids don't want to be with a cranky dad. Like, the kids don't want to be with a dad who's checked out, who's not really present. And it took me a while to understand this, because I was like, man, I just need to spend more time with my kids. But if I'm spending more time with my kids and I'm not a great role model, I'm not a great father, I'm not in a great headspace for them, I'm literally doing more damage than not. And so I think the better way to look at this is quality of time. I would rather be in a really good space and spend half an hour with my kids where I'm really present, really connected, really involved with them, listening, versus 3 hours where I'm half checked out, I'm half on my phone, I'm thinking about work, I'm thinking about all the responsibilities and all the things I've got to get done. And I think it just creates a divide, because over time, the kids are going to realize, like, oh, this is all I get from the guy. And then as they get older, they're going to start disconnecting. Well, they're not going to show up, right? They're not going to have the time to come and spend with me when I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready now to be able to spend time with them. So it's a really important factor we've got to think about here, which is this quality over quantity. So the 5 habits, these 5 habits that I believe every father needs to work on to be able to do this. And these 5 habits were a game changer for me. So you've got a pen and paper with you. I'd write them down. Otherwise, I'll put them up in the show notes so that you can grab them. The first is gratitude journaling. And so what this is each day taking a moment. I don't think it needs to be more than 3 to 5 minutes, where you actually sit down and you ask yourself the question, what am I grateful for? And to go even deeper on this is, why am I grateful for that? And so this notion of gratitude is like a muscle. Like the more you exercise gratitude in your life, the more you see the opportunities and the beautiful life as it unfolds in front of you. Now, this took me a long time to really wrap my head around as a very logical aerospace engineer, that there's this idea that if you start to see the things that you are grateful for, you will automatically start to see more things that you can and should be grateful for in your life. And so gratitude journaling is really simple, because I think a lot of us can easily overcomplicate. Man, I don't know how to journal. Where do I start? What do I do? How is it done, etc. If you're brand new to this, it's literally a pen and paper, 3 to 5 minutes, and you're just asking the question, like write it at the top of the page. What am I grateful for today? ? Write out whatever comes up. Secondly, why are you grateful for that? And I think that's where the work is. It's easy to throw in, oh man, I'm grateful that the sun's up. I'm grateful that I breathe. I'm grateful that I got a bed. I'm grateful I got a pillow. I'm grateful that I've got, kids in my life, etc. But you got to dig a little bit deeper, man. You got to actually ask, why are you grateful for that? Like, we need to get down into the depths of it and figure out and understand and get clear on why you are actually grateful for it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is meditation. I took a long time to get my head around meditation, to make it something that sticks, something that stays with me, something that I do on a consistent basis. For many, many years of my life, I told myself, I just don't meditate. I can't meditate. I'm not a meditator. I can't sit still. Give me any excuse, I would throw it out there to not meditate. And the truth was, it was just uncomfortable. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around giving myself 10 minutes plus to sit still with my eyes closed and focus on my breath, because I'm like, I got a lot to do, man. I got a lot of shit to get done. And so I would use any excuse to say that meditation doesn't work for me. Now, meditation can come in many different forms as well. So I'm not sitting here saying I am the meditation guru and expert. They're like far, far, far from it. I just know that making space, and I put in at least 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes plus a day into meditation, and I find what works for me. And it changes over time. Sometimes I like the guided meditation. Sometimes I like just silence. Sometimes I focus on my breath. Sometimes I focus on a mantra. And I have found that being able to do that really enables to, 1, settle myself, settle my nerves, settle my mind. That comes back to that notion I was talking about before around capacity. I'm now calmer. I can take on more responsibility in my life without flipping the lid, losing it, and blowing up when things don't go my way. And so number 2 there is meditation. Now find something that works for you. And if the first one doesn't work for you, i.e. like a guided meditation, try something else. But I really do believe that this is one of the most important habits a man needs to have in his life, especially as a father when he wants to build out capacity, along with number 1 we talked about, which is gratitude journaling. The third is what I call the daily gesture of love or daily gesture of appreciation. Now, this is reminding your loved ones that you care about them, that you're thinking about them. And it's not even about them at the end of the day. Like one thing I found where I implemented this for the first time into my marriage many years ago was, yes, there's the whole benefit of my wife now sees that I see her and love her and give her the love and the gratitude that she deserves. But it reminded me right at that point in time that, hey, how lucky am I? Like I've got this beautiful chosen one who's here when I write out this gratitude post or I write out why I love her. It's just this, it flicks on my switch. And this is early in the morning. Like I'm all in on my marriage. Like it just every single day reminding me it's not about the business, Ben. It's not about chasing the dollar, Ben. They're all benefits of life. However, right at the core of it is this relationship I hold with chosen one. And it was a game changer there. Now you add this to your kids. And so one of the things we've been using in our family, like that we've used in the past, are like 15 and 30-second hugs. And that's a daily gesture of love, like hugging a 13-year-old boy for 15 seconds and watching how he sinks into it and actually loves it and appreciates it, doing it with my daughter, doing it with chosen one. Like there's many different ways you can do this daily gesture of love or daily gesture of appreciation. But what it is, it's bringing this deeper connection into, a very important element of your life. Like other things that we've done in the past is little hand notes that we put in with their lunches, right? Letting them know that we love them, why we love them, why we appreciate them, why we're grateful for them in our world. And so number 3 is the daily gesture of love for your kids, but also for your loved ones. The more, similar to gratitude, like the more you practice this giving of love, the more you find like it builds up in you and you have more and more to give, back to that notion of capacity. Number 4 is movement. Now, there's many forms of movement. I like the intense movement. My exercise regime is pretty intense, whether it's big, long runs, CrossFit sessions, weight vest sessions, etc. However, in there is also movement such as yoga, Pilates, going for a ruck, like literally going out into the bush, throwing a bit of weight in a backpack and going for a walk. Having movement builds energy, builds vitality, and it needs to be a daily habit. It's very easy as a busy, ambitious father, because again, like I'm a busy man and I'm very ambitious. And at the same time, I've found that I have to make these habits work. Else, it's very easy to push them to the side, to tell myself, I don't have time for this. And in the past, I was the guy that would get up, jump in the car, drive to the office early in the morning and just start grinding it out, telling myself, I'll do all these things later, only to find that there is no later. I didn't make the time for it. And so I wouldn't get the movement in it, wouldn't happen. And I would find myself in situations where I'd come home completely cooked and exhausted, no capacity. And then I've got to show up as a dad, as a father, as a husband to support a family who needs me to be present, who needs capacity because chosen one has had the kids all day. And now I'm coming home and it's like, hey man, time to help change nappies, bath, etc. And when you've got no capacity, that stuff's triggering. That stuff's really hard. And so movement is one of those habits. And I've put that in there. And I think it's very, very important to be looking at where do you implement 30 to 45 minutes of movement every single day. And the 5th, which is my favorite, I've kept this to last because I'm sure a lot of listeners here will dive at this one because you'll love it, is the cold shower, cold water immersion. Now, you might be thinking, how does that tie into fatherhood? It is all about calm in the chaos. For those who are privy to the cold shower exposure, you know how chaotic it feels when you first step in. Now, I'm not talking about, and you can do it this way, like you can have the warm shower, get yourself warm, have a shower, and then flick it on and have the 1 minute cold shower after. No problem with it. Great place to start, right? And watch as you hold a minute. A minute will feel like an hour. And it's good to have a timer. Don't just try and count 60 seconds in your head. These are all little things I've learned because over the past, I thought I was having a 1 minute shower back in the day. I got a timer. I realized I was having a 15-second cold shower. Very, very simply because I'm under immense stress and I'm like, fuck, I got to get out of here. I got to get out. 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 Okay, that's got to be 60 seconds. Boom, I'm out. Whereas now it's actually about how quickly can I regulate my emotions, my mind in the chaos of the cold? And I think this is a really big player and supporter for those men who want to be great dads. Like, we are in a state of chaos quite regularly. It is crazy to think your kids are going to do whatever you tell them to do for the rest of your life. When they're very little, it's a very different game. They kind of will do whatever you ask. They're cute, man. They're like, ask them to do the little things, they'll go and do them. However, as they get older, as they start pushing back, as they start getting their own understanding of who they are and what they want and what they desire, they're not gonna conform with you. They're also going to bring in their own challenges, friendship challenges, challenges at school, how they feel about themselves, emotional challenges. You want to be a great father, you have to be prepped for that. You need a high level of capacity to be able to support your children as they go through those particular moments in their life. Now, I'm only at the teenage stage, but I'm planning for the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, like going through all these different things. And I'm continually working on building out my capacity. And the cold shower, the cold therapy has been a huge part of that. It has supported me. How quickly can I get into a state of calm when I step into chaos? When I switch that cold shower on, prior to it even going on, there's the anxiety, the flight or fight situation occurring, like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm doing this cold. I don't want to do it. It's not going to happen. Why am I wasting my time? There's even people like, why would you do that, man? Why would you, like, every reason not to do it. But then you switch it on and you step in because that's greatness. That's you doing what you know you need to do versus what you want to do in order to become a better, higher version of yourself. And then you move into your breath and you find the calm in the chaos. And so now when I'm asking the kids, clean your teeth, let's get ready for bed so we can hop in bed and read books. And they don't want to do that because they're tired, they're exhausted, they don't have a lot of capacity and they want to muck around and that's just how they're dealing with their emotions. I don't just blow up. I don't just, what I call, throw the wet blanket over it all, which is like, shut it down, bring it back. Get in there, clean your teeth. Where I was, 10 years ago. Like that's just where I was. Like when things did not go my way, that's how I handled it. Whereas now it's like I'm able to navigate it, play with it, work with it, go with it, and support them and their needs to be the father I desire to be, which is being the mentor and the role model for my children to say that, hey, when things don't go your way, you don't just lose it. You don't just lose emotional control. You step into the situation to become a higher, better version of yourself, to support the necessary needs of those people that are in that situation. And so they're my 5 habits, brother, right? 5 specific habits I think a great father should have in his life on a day-to-day basis. Now, let me just put a little bit of context around this quickly. Habits mean that, when you're forming a habit, you kind of do it with less effort. So at first, we actually, inside Rising Kings, like these are referred to as what are called daily disciplines because you actually need discipline to do these. They're not necessarily habits straight away. And I think this is what can happen with a lot of these conversations, and you jump on YouTube or listen to podcasts, etc., and people talk about habits. It's only a habit when it becomes efficient and effective, and you're doing it consistently over and over. When it's not, it requires a lot of discipline. And so at first, these 5, gratitude journaling, meditation, daily gesture of love, movement, cold shower, is going to require a bit of discipline. It's going to require you to want to commit to this and push yourself into these uncomfortable situations to get the work done. And so I refer to them as daily disciplines. These are the 5 daily disciplines every man should have in his life if he wants to be a great father. And so when you put these together, you create more capacity. You create deeper levels of connection. You create more confidence in yourself, which enables you to show up as a better leader, a better father, a better husband, a better man. Because if you've got a happy environment at home, like a good, connected, strong environment at home, you're building out a beautiful environment for your children to grow in. And I want you to think about it like your home and the place you show up and how you show up. It's like soil, right? Soil where you put plants. And your children are little seeds, man, that you're putting into the soil. And so if you've got dried out soil that just doesn't have the nutrition that is needed for that plant to grow in a safe environment, a healthy environment, you're going to, 1, hinder the growth of that plant, and 2, this plant is most likely to die. Like it's not going to grow into the beautiful, amazing flower that it can. Versus if you've got really well-nourished soil, and we think about ourselves and our home in terms of that soil, you will raise beautiful children. And I get it. There's the influence that happens at school and outside of the home environment. However, I do believe if you create a really good home environment that's safe, connected, it's caring, where you have capacity, you're not yelling, you're not screaming, you're not blowing up, you're not causing unnecessary friction, you're bringing in the happiness, the fulfillment, the joy, your kids will want to spend more time there. Your kids will want to connect. Your kids will want to be a part of it. They know it's the safe place to come, and you will raise these beautiful adults that we desire to create. Like that's what we're doing, right? Like it's not about having the perfect kid who gets the perfect results at school and does everything right now only to crack down later in life because they don't have the nourishment that they desired when they were young. It's really thinking about we are doing the work now so that we are raising beautiful adults who can regulate and work through life's challenges with more self-worth, more self-love, more self-control, more enjoyment, fulfillment, all the things really at the end of the day we're here working out together. And so for me, that's fatherhood, brothers. And I do strongly believe that you must have these 5 daily disciplines in place. I did not have them at the start. I've worked these out along the way. I've had to put in the work to do that. And it has created a significant positive impact on the home environment. The relationship I have with my children is phenomenal. Like I always desired it. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get it. However, I just continually work on myself to show up as the best possible version I can be, which is having positive impacts on my family and those around me. So that's it for today's episode. I really appreciate you tuning in. I trust that this has been valuable for you. Put these 5 disciplines in place. Like I'd love to hear how you go and how this starts to impact your home life. And as always, I'd love it if, you have someone in your life, maybe it's another man, another brother, a friend who might get some value out of this. Please share it with them. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. We're also moving into YouTube now. So if you're on YouTube frequently, I'd love for you to go and check that out and subscribe to us so you can get more of me, more of these interviews that I'm going to have coming up as well, and being able to share with you these tools, tactics, strategies to enable you to become the highest, best possible version of yourself, to show up as a better father, better leader, better husband, just a better man in your world. And then finally, I'm going to close out on this. Just one last thing I want to throw in here. So I'm pretty excited to share this, but for those who live in Sydney or want to come to Sydney, on August 4th, I am running along with a brother and another guy from the Sydney Swans. So I've partnered with Sydney Swans. We are going to run a men's workshop, a performance workshop, August 4th, like at the morning of August 4th. I'll put details up shortly, but you can check out the website, risingkings.com.au. We'll have event details up there. And it's going to be an epic, 3 to 4 hour event where we'll be sharing with you a specific set of principles that we run through the core, CORE, performance methodology, and take you on an experience that you've probably never been through before. It's not just sitting in a room looking at a whiteboard and taking a bunch of notes. Like, we're going to take you through a full experience to enable you to create more capacity, more capability, more confidence, self-worth, all these things that we're in search of, having more fun, more enjoyment, more gratitude, all these things, these systems, this performance system that you can put in place to live a more wholesome, more fulfilling, more enjoying life. So August 4th, mark your calendars, check out risingkings.com.au if you'd like to be part of that. And I look forward to connecting with you next week. Until then, stay strong.